Generators don't go out. You got to continuously put that generative energy into it to get to your goal. Peace and gratitude, family, and welcome to another episode here on Cosmic Cell Foods, where we focus on entrepreneurship, health, and spiritual evolution. So for today's topic, be a generator. All right, family, so this is another view that you can get used to here on Cosmic Cell Foods. So what we're talking about today is generative energy. We're going to talk about how once you apply this, what we're going to teach you today, you can easily 10x your life. You can easily 10x your finances. You can easily 10x your health simply by applying these primordial principles of creation. So let's get into it. So in all the ancient civilizations, even in Christianity, in the Bible, it talks about the primordial waters. It talks about the existence before earth, which goes to the primordial. In the Bible, it talks about how the energy or the face of God or the face of energy was upon the deep of the waters. This is just describing the key aspect of the primordials. But the ancients, our ancestors, dive into the specifics of these universal principles. When the power goes out in the rest of the house or wherever you are, that generator is going to keep going. It's going to continue to push towards the mark to power up whatever it is you're trying to generate. Whether it's your health, whether that's your finances, you continuously put energy into what you want to see growth in, what you want to see fruit in, what you want to receive fruit in. The fastest way to create that is through generative energy. Generative energy is focused energy. And when you're focused and intentional about sending your energy where you want it to go, you can easily manifest anything that you want to manifest in this reality. 4 groups of primordials. There's the masculine aspect and there's the feminine aspect. And our ancestors gave each and every one of these principles a name. They also depicted these principles. So it wasn't about a whole bunch of different gods and goddesses. This was principles that's based on the creation of the universe itself. Group number 1, the masculine and feminine virtue. The masculine polarity for the first group, our ancestors called it nu, which simply means the initial impulse, the initial thought of creation itself. The feminine virtue is the multiplication of that creative impulse. So once that original thought of creation has been formulated, now that initial thought has to be multiplied throughout the universe, throughout the vastness of primordial waters, before every other aspect of creation can come into existence. We haven't even created the universe. We haven't even created the moon, the stars. We haven't even created planetary bodies. None of that stuff is in creation yet. We're talking about the very first 2 sentences of the Bible, actually, if you go read this. But our ancients had it written in stone. So I want you to get all the dynamics and understanding of why this is so important. Second pair of primordial. The masculine virtue represents the eternal present, the creative formation and evolution of the 4 elements. We understand that for physical matter to be in existence, we have to have those 4 elements in existence. So we're talking about eternity, we're talking about time, the eternal present, which is always in existence. The past and the future exist in the eternal present. This talks about the vastness of the cosmos. This talks about the vastness of realities and other dimensions and other realities that exist. We're talking about eternal time. We're talking about eternity. Everybody understands reincarnation and things like that. But we are the eternal souls, which lives on and lives on. So once our soul leaves this body, let's believe we got access to the eternal present. We go back to the eternal present. Not the physical present, but the eternal present. Feminine virtue represents infinity in eternal time. Infinity. Now we're talking about past, present, and future in totality. So when Flash goes into Flashpoint and he runs back in time, that portal aspect that he runs through with all the different dimensions and lifetimes and different portals that he can go into to different time periods, this is the same thing when we're talking about infinity. When we're talking about eternal time, the infinite aspect of eternal time, that's the feminine virtue of the second primordial. So the second level of primordials is talking about eternal existence. So the first initial impulse was created and multiplied. Then once it began to multiply, that's when eternity started to form. So now, let's get to the third pair, because this is where it starts to really get spicy. I want to give thanks to none other than Cosmic Cell Foods for being the sponsor of this video. Cosmic Cell Foods has opened the gateway for so many people to be able to achieve wealth and health. In our mentorship program, we show you how to create products. We show you how to create books. We show you how to create courses. We show you how to use the natural herbs, whether you want to make skincare products, hair care products, beauty care products, mascara, internal care products. There is a lane for you. And with us teaching you exactly how to market and advertise those products and teaching you how to acquire funding by leveraging your personal and business credit, this is a program that you do not want to miss out on. So what are you waiting for? Your future destiny is waiting for you. So the masculine virtue represents the ability to transcend chaos and give birth to a solution. The ability to transcend negativity and bring positivity. So the ability to understand that there's chaos, but to understand also that you can create a solution. It is the understanding of the full intention of source creation. So as eternal time is being created, it's not until this third pair where source itself begins to start realizing and understanding what it's creating. So different aspects of source itself, once it gets to the third pair of primordial, we're talking about existence here. We're talking about multiple levels of existence. This can go on inside of your human body. This is the example from the cosmos itself being built. We got to understand how important it is for us to be generated when it comes to our lives, when it comes to our realities. So understanding the full intention of source creation and the willingness to create based on creation's original intention. The willingness to create based on the original intention. And the original intention was to be generative, was to create, was to evolve, was to ascend. So that's what being generative is. And when we talk about that generator, generators don't go out. So we keep pushing towards the mark of ascension. That is the goal. So in that you can apply to any aspect of your life. That's spiritual, financial, physically with health. You got to continuously put that generative energy into it to get to your goal. So, the feminine virtue, the solution and willingness has been generated due to the full intention of source being understood. So, the information of source is now ready to be given to the whole creation of the world itself, via the last level of primordial creation. Also, the feminine virtue of the third pair represents accomplishment. So, the accomplishment of truly, fully understanding the full intention of creation. So, now that it can be expressed into a physical nature. So now we get down to the fourth pair. The masculine virtue represents the great work of the original intention or image of creation is expressed in a physical form, and rest after formation and receptivity of creation is an essential aspect of the continuation of this formation. So when we say I rest in circadian rhythm, this is a universal principle. So if you're not getting sleep, if you're not getting proper rest, you will not have the energy to go into your next day and fulfill your tasks and your goals. It's literally necessary for our bodies to rest. The feminine virtue represents the original intention of creation is now made manifest as a seed emitted into the world. So when we understand a seed has the imprint of nature, the imprint of God in it. Some people call it the golden ratio, the flower of life. But a seed, say it's an oak tree seed, you won't be able to fathom how big that oak tree gets. That seed knows how big it can grow. So this is an aspect of source creation that now that it's went through this entire process, it understands what it wants to do. It understands that, oh, I'm the golden ratio. And when somebody plants me in the soil, I'm going to grow into everything that I was designed to grow into. Come on, family. This is the reason why I keep saying Source's original intention for us is to be a generative energy, to be generative down here on this planet, because we are an extension of source creation as a soul. A piece of that life force energy comes directly from source itself, directly from creation itself. So when we understand that an individual piece of creation is existing within us, what do you think we're supposed to be doing down here in these physical bodies? Generating. Primordial principles of creation can help us truly understand what it is that we need to be doing here on this planet. Understanding our psyche that we need to be evolving to, the mindset that we need to be ascending to every day. Videos like this, we need to be watching them on a consistent basis to just drill it in, 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 drill it in. Because it's not going to happen the first day. You have to consistently apply these principles, and once you apply principles, you always are going to get results. Just a couple extra examples. Source creation is data collection. So an example of this is when Source sends a piece of its life force energy down here as a soul, which is us animating these physical bodies. Source wants to collect data. It wants to know exactly how it is to live as me, to live as you, to live as everyone on this planet. At the end of life, we have to bring back that information or during life, we're sending information back to source creation. We're sending data back to source creation about our experience, about our lifetime. When we choose to evolve to that higher state that we know we're supposed to be evolving to, that sends back a divine message to source, and it shows source what it can accomplish down here. We bring that valuable data back to source creation because eventually source creation only wants to get back to itself. We only want to ascend back to source creation. So we're down here gathering information. So on the deeper level of that, the brain does the same thing. The brain is in complete darkness. It doesn't know what's going on out here, but it has some friends, the five senses. These all come together. It gathers data, and it sends that information back up to the brain so the brain can understand what's going on out here. As you can see, source creation is as above, so belowing itself. Our brains have that same aspect of creation by collecting data to get to our brain. A brain up here in our head, we got a brain in our heart, we got a brain here in our gut as well. And all of these send signals and emit frequency back to source creation. We're always communicating. We're always creating reality. We're always creating our life, whether we think so or not. So to go even deeper, we can talk about the enzymes and quaternary structures, quaternary mineral structures, shall I say, because amino acids are simply elemental mineral structures. So when we talk about enzymes, the active site in the enzymes, say like iron for instance, in hemoglobin. Iron is the active site inside of hemoglobin, but hemoglobin itself is the full quaternary structure of hemoglobin. So the quaternary structure around the active site of iron is moving around, helping the iron pull other things towards itself. So we can understand that it's all doing the same thing. It's helping it move around. It's helping it receive data so it can bring information back to the active site that couldn't do that by itself without having those extensions. So we understand that data collection is generative energy. Collect as much data for whatever it is that your purpose is. And I want to make this stuff simple, so we're not in the hoopla, we're not scared of stuff. We understand what stuff is and we can move forward most effectively. This can be applied to your business, this can be applied to your health, be applied to your spiritual evolution. But I wanted to break it down in this way, and this is going to be a lot of the formats of our videos. We're always going to have financial literacy involved, we're always going to have health involved, we're always going to have spiritual evolution involved. I hope this video has showed you how easy it is to become more. And when you start using that generative energy, you start doing more with it, you start having more of this energy, more of this blissful energy to bless you in your life so you can go forth with your purpose. If you enjoyed this video, it's a probable guarantee that you're gonna like this one as well. So go ahead and give it a gander, and remember to keep it cosmic.